So it's been an interesting day at the Oregon standoff trials. Today the government called a total of 6 witnesses by the end of the day, even though it was a short day. 4 of those witnesses were FBI special agents that are assigned to the Domestic Terrorism Task Force. They were mostly assigned with the task of monitoring social media, and especially Facebook pages. And so they testified that pursuant to Facebook warrants, they had received over 300,000 pages of information that they used to conduct keyword searches and then to do manual searches. They said that those came from 23 different accounts. That would include the accounts of all the defendants in this case. Originally started out with 26 defendants. Of course, in this trial, there are just 7 defendants at this point, but that included all of the 26 original defendants. Of course, Pete Santilli has been dismissed at this point, but they went through all of that information, and they had 4 different FBI agents that were assigned to do that. So they all testified and presented evidence. The evidence that they presented was often Facebook posts. These were posts that were either pictures, memes, posts with text, and those, they were offered for a variety of reasons. One of the reasons was to basically show that the individual defendants were recruiting or soliciting people to come join the cause, or trying to incite people to get involved, or whatever the case may be. On the other hand, some of those were also used to show that they would be considered threatening or scary to federal government officials, including, say, for example, the BLM district office manager in Hines, and that he would take that kind of evidence into consideration in making his decision. And the same thing at the refuge in terms of making the decisions based on social media and Facebook evidence. And one of the things that's come out in this trial is that all of those guys, from law enforcement to the officials making the decisions, were all monitoring social media very closely. They were keeping an eye on it. That's how they were being informed about much of what was going on in the community and much of what was happening in general. And so there's some important things that really ought to be said there, and one of those things came out in basically a sidebar evidentiary hearing between the judge and the attorneys outside the presence of the jury, as they were arguing about the admissibility of some of this evidence, the Facebook evidence, the social media evidence. And this is really interesting. What Judge Brown said was that, in her opinion, and people need to pay close attention to this, she said, in a conspiracy case like this, an alleged conspiracy, it was her position, and this is how she was going to instruct the jury, and she did give them some additional instructions or commentary on this basis. She said that in a conspiracy, or an alleged conspiracy like this one, if one of the alleged co-conspirators makes a statement, and if it can be proven or established that the other alleged co-conspirators joined in the conspiracy, that whatever any of the co-conspirators said in furtherance of the alleged conspiracy can be attributed to all the alleged co-conspirators or all the defendants, regardless of what it is. And so, in terms of setting some precedent, both in this case and in general, I think that's something that's really important to bear in mind. It's important for everyone to bear in mind in terms of their own social media activities and what they do on Facebook, because we're going to see what happens in this case by the time it's all said and done. But in this case, what the judge told the jury is that anything any of the alleged co-conspirators say can be used again and attributed to any of the other alleged co-conspirators. So just think about that. So we've got plenty more to talk about. I'm way over my 3-minute limit that I try to stay within, so we'll be back with another clip in a minute.